Welcome to Health and Wellness with Coach A.T. Moore. Today we have another fabulous guest. Her name is Lacresia. Is it Lacresia or Lacresia?
Lacresia.
Lacresia Williams.
Yes.
Coming from Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes.
She is a mother of two. Before we started, I got a chance to kind of observe some of her mother duties. She's a mother. She is an author and she is a transformational coach, and we are honored to have her on the show today.
Yes, thank you, Coach A.T. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm so excited, share my journey,
Mother of two. Now, do you have two girls, two boys, a girl and a boy?
I have one girl and one boy.
Okay.
My daughter is 13 and I have a 4-year-old son.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are a mother and you are an author and you're a transformational coach. We're going to get to the book. I kind of want to tease the book a little bit because I love the title. So I want to dig into the book, but I want to know about the transformational coach part. What drew you into the coaching profession?
Oh man, so ever since, I feel like for a while, I would say in my early 20s that it was like I just was always giving advice and talking to people, right? And I remember I was speaking with my financial coach one day, and this was like years ago. This was right before the pandemic, and in fact, we were just talking about, I don't know how I got into just talking about like some of my journey and my story. And she was like, did you ever think of taking a course or maybe doing a course on life coaching? And I was like, no, but then I'm like, that's what it's called. It's called life coaching. I've been doing life coaching my whole life, So I'm like, why not coach and get paid for it? This is what you do. This is your gift. This is something that comes natural to you and you love it. Why not go ahead and take those courses on life coaching and do that for a living? And as a transformational coach, I know that, transformation changed lives.
So for those that are not very familiar, everyone has heard, I'm pretty sure, life coach, but for those watching, what does a transformational coach do?
They transform. They transform people. I feel like, you have change and then you have transform. When you transform people, you're transforming their minds, for whatever goals that they're trying to do for that to follow. So I feel like when we are doing transformations, it's almost like I'm helping you renew yourself. I'm helping you, renew your mind. I'm helping you realize some things that bring you in to what you're trying to step into.
Yeah. So the mission statement on your Instagram is you help girls who feel lost and undervalued journey from hopeless to healed so they can unearth their purpose. I love that mission statement. Walk us through how you're able to do this.
Yes. So of course, for my mission statement, how I'm able to help, females that may not feel valued or that may need some guidance. I lived it, right? So I'm so passionate when I say I'm here to help you unearth purpose, because sometimes when you're not valuing yourself, right, you do not know your full potential.
Yeah. So
when I help you become to understand your value, right? Now we can unlock some new levels here. Now, you're thinking differently now. Yeah. Now you're like, oh my goodness, this is what I was doing. No, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
So so to help you unearth purpose, to step into your full potential, to see who you are outside of who you might have thought you were.
Yeah. I love that. Why do you feel called to the lost and hopeless generation? Do you think that's a calling?
Yes, absolutely. Along my journey, of course, I didn't understand why I may have faced some of the things that I faced. And then it wasn't until just a major situation happened. And I feel like everything that I've been through and my whole story it wasn't for me. It was for females that are just like me. It just so happened that I overcame it. And I always was the one to say, I want to be relatable. I want to be relatable. You know, I don't want to overcome and then one of those people that feel like I forgot where I came from.
Yeah.
No, that's for females that was just like me, because what I have to do is tap into that younger me.
Yeah.
Tap into that younger me. What did you need at that time? And what do these females need from you? You know, that may need some guidance just like you did.
Yeah.
It's a calling.
Yeah.
And something is, you know, in a calling, you can't sleep at night when you got that calling. Like, you can't escape it.
Yeah.
It's there. It's always in your mind. You know, you wake up, you dreaming about your calling. You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
So that's how I know it's my calling. I'm so passionate about it.
You better come on. You better talk about your calling. You better talk about that mission. I know that's right. I know it.
I'm telling you.
I knew it. I knew it was, when you read a mission statement like that, that's not just something that looks good on the gram. Yeah. That's something that someone thought about, has meaning.
Yeah.
Wrote it to be impactful. Yeah. So let's bring the audience in on your background so we can get into the meat of your story. And I took this directly from your website. I put your website up here. Took this directly word for word from your website. Born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. Grew up in a household with a single mom and a dad who was in and out and who dealt with alcoholism. Later on in life, you went from being an exotic dancer to being in a 3-way relationship with a married couple, which ended in a murder-suicide.
Yes.
Your relationship with God gave you the strength to change your lifestyle and walk in your current purpose.
Yes. Yes.
I want you to unpack your story and walk us through that time period.
Sure. Yeah. So growing up, my mother was a single mom. And my father, he wasn't as active in my life. So I didn't see him much. I remember like my father having like visitation rights, right? But I don't remember it being for like a long period of time. Mm-hmm. So I do felt like by my mom being that single mom, I lacked like a lot of the emotional support. Yeah. I felt like it was like a verbally abusive relationship between my mom and I. And I know for a long time, it's like I didn't understand, you know, why I felt like she felt the way she felt about me, or why she would say certain things. And I remember when I started going into high school, I was always like smart, and I got accepted into like the 3 most prestigious like high schools in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And everybody wanted to go to these schools. And I remember I was so excited like to come home and tell my mom, like, "Mom, I got accepted into it's Western, Poly, and City." I don't know if you're ever familiar, but it's like a big rivalry, the City Poly game. So I got accepted into Western, and I remember telling my mom, I got accepted into Western, and Western is an all-girls school. And I remember my mom saying, what do you mean? Like, what are you, gay or something? I mean, she was so upset that I got accepted, you know, into the school. And then I just felt like after that, I noticed that that emotional support was there. Like that abuse was just always, "You're done. You're going to go to your zone school. You don't even belong there," you know? And it was just like, it just felt like it got worse over the years. And I remember right after I graduated from high school, I got accepted into college, and I was going into college. Well, that summer, I met my daughter's father. I was 18. My daughter's father was 10 years older than me. He was 28. And he was very like a gentleman at the time. I thought that he was a gentleman.
Yeah.
And you know, he became very controlling, like in that first week of us dating, but I ignored all of that red flags. He was abusive. And I remember, because of the relationship between my mom and I wanted to move out of my mom's house. So at 18, you know, he's like, "Yeah, let's move out." And I'm like, "Okay," you know, so not really knowing much. And I moved out. And the abuse got worse and worse. So I was in like an abusive relationship for about like 2.5, almost 3 years.
Wow.
And I, in the midst of it, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And I know I was just like, oh my God, I can't be like a great mom to my daughter, because I just really felt I was dealing with the abuse, like the emotional abuse from my mom, the abuse from the relationship. And I also was carrying that relationship financially. I started working I was working in a prison at 18, and still trying to go to college. And as I'm working in this prison, I hated the job at the prison.
Yeah.
It was also women that were my supervisors that didn't like younger women.
Yeah.
And it would I felt like make my life a living hell when I got there. So from all angles, I was not happy. I was so depressed. It was like I wasn't suicidal, but I didn't care if I did, and I really had like a wake up moment, and I was like, I can't be the mother to my daughter if you are suffering like this, or if you're not happy, or you're not being your best self. So I remember saying, I'm going to leave my daughter's father because I was tired of the abuse. And the abuse was like so bad. I mean, when the police would come to the house, they would say, do y'all know it's a long list of domestic disputes coming from this house? And I remember a female officer pulling me to the side and saying, if you don't leave him, he's going to kill you.
Wow.
Yes. And from then I said, you know what? I can't do this no more. I moved out the house. I left everything. I just took my daughter and her clothes and my clothes, and I asked my cousin, could I come move with her? And I moved in with her. And I remember saying, it's either I'm gonna basically be a single mother now, right? Now, I want to finish school. I have to finish school to have a better life for my daughter. I'm going to have to stop the job. So I remember I said, I'll just be a dancer. I'll be an exotic dancer. That's how I'll get myself through college, take care of my daughter, and that's how I'll just pay my bills. And I remember going to audition to the clubs. I remember resigning from the jail, and at 21, I became a stripper. And so I started dancing, and then I'm feeling like I'm making a living for myself, but not even realizing that I'm not valuing myself in that place. And I remember feeling, just remembering guys just feeling like they can really disrespect you. Little things like balling up $1 to throw at you. Saying little stuff like, how much?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like, you can say that? You can just walk. It just almost felt like they felt empowered, because you're going to do anything for this money.
Yeah.
And so I remember being in that lifestyle. And at first, I looked past it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fun for a little while. I thought it was okay while I was putting myself through school. And then I realized I think I was tired of doing it. And while I'm dancing, I meet a couple. So when I meet this married couple, it was a wife and a husband and a wife. And, they were coming to see me and they were coming to spend money. And I remember them saying that my wife is, we're looking for a girlfriend. And I was like, no, I'm not feeling it. But because in the strip clubs, what you want is the money.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly, playing into it, but not serious, because I just still want them to come and be my customers and spend the money. So after a while, I said, fine. And they was like, well, we'll take you to, I think they said Miami and Atlanta. We'll just have a good time. So I said, fine. So I went to Miami with them. And I'm just thinking, like, this is a good old time. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And then that's it. I'm going to come back. I won't talk to them no more. And it really was like, well, we really like you. We would really like for you to be our girlfriend. And eventually I was like, okay, fine. I'll be your girlfriend. So I feel like I just dived into something else, right? And I get into this relationship, and I'm in that relationship probably for about 2 years. But in it, he was very nice to me, but manipulative.
Yeah.
Nice to me, and he told me, I want you to be my girlfriend. You don't talk to my wife. Like, we do what we do. She's not a part of what we do. I'm going to give you whatever you want. I'm going to treat you very nice. I'm not even going to deal with her like that. But you're my girlfriend, and that's what I want from you. So I said, fine. Being young, I just was like, okay. I mean, he was doing whatever for me. I thought it was nice. My daughter and I had moved into their house, so we all was living together.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward, I remember I was like, this is not something that I want to do anymore. I actually this was right before I was like, you know what, I don't want to dance anymore. I'm tired. Like, I don't want to do this. I think I was just ready to give up everything that came with that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling him, like, I'm tired of doing it. I don't want to do it anymore. I had just graduated from college. And then once I think I threw like a retirement party. I threw a retirement party and I told him, like, I'm done with the whole dancing thing. And he said, well, let me just help you get to where you need to go, after you stop dancing. So I remember, like I said, stop dancing. I didn't have no money saved up from dancing because I used to just blow through my money. I didn't manage my money at all. Mm-hmm. And right before that, actually, I remember going to church. I remember going to church with my mom. And I remember telling the pastor, can she pray for me? Because I was done with the lifestyle and done with the things that came with it. And right after I retired, the husband had told me when I said, this is not really something that I want to do. He said, fine. Well, if you don't want to do this anymore, I'm going to kill myself because I already ruined my marriage for you. So now at this point, I'm done dancing. The person that said that they were going to help me is telling me now that they're about to kill themselves.
Wow.
So, and I don't have any money. I remember right after that, my lights end up getting cut off. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Because I retired from dancing. I said I was not going back to dancing at all. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Right after that happened, sure enough, he killed himself. He killed himself and he killed his wife.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he actually that night he said he was on his way to my house, but he never came.
Think he was headed to you as well?
Possibly, yes.
Wow.
I remember speaking to him right before that happened because he called to say that he did say he was on his way, and then he called me to say, I love you. And after that, I don't know. I just was like, what is going on? I know it was a feeling that I'll never, ever forget.
Wow.
A feeling that something just didn't feel right and something wasn't right. So 2 days later, after I'm calling him because he did say he was coming, after I'm calling, I'm like, something don't feel right. And then a friend of mine that was a police officer said it came through the radio that it was a person that killed themselves and their wife, and it was their names.
Wow.
That came through the radio. And right after that happened, it was like, after I, cried and everything, it was like a light bulb went off. It was saying, like, get your life together.
Yeah.
This is your chance to start over.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of everything from the past and start your life completely over. And, I remember after that, my mom and I, we didn't get along a lot, but I remember saying, like, let's mend this relationship that we had. Like, let's build a relationship let's build our relationship. I remember reaching out to my father. I remember my favorite uncle, him and I wasn't talking that much. I remember reaching out to my uncle, like, we got to get this right.
Yeah.
It was really here today, gone tomorrow. Like I seen it. And I remember just growing my relationship with God and just praying and constantly going to church. And when I built my relationship with God, I started working on the relationship with my father and I, working on the relationship with my mother. And once I felt like when God said, I'm going to strip everything away and I'm going to restore everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't see at that time what God was doing. I knew that I said I can never go back. And I literally started again from the bottom.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
When you decided to leave working in the prison system, why do you think the only option that you came up with was, I'm just going to dance? Did you know any other dancers at that time? Were there people that you knew making really good money? Or do you think that was just the only, were there no other opportunities? Why was that your first choice?
So that was my first choice because...
Wow. I mean, wow.
Wow, what a start to the first part of my conversation with Lacresia Williams. We are going to follow up with part 2 tomorrow, so make sure that you don't miss it. This is Health and Wellness with Coach A.T. Moore. Thanks for watching.